Okay, in this presentations, I am going to present maxims of equity. Here, we have been discussing from the previous presentations under this topic. Today also, I am going to present uh, under this maxims of equity law. Today, uh, number one maxims equity imputes an intentions to fulfill an obligations. Here, this maxim equity imputes an intentions to fulfill an obligations. Here, this maxim based on the intention of the parties to the litigants, parties to the proceedings of the court. Here, equity believes that whatever is right should be done in the rightful duties, and then only he should claim his right. Here, it means that when a person is an under an obligation to do his duty, then the presumption is that he must have done his obligations. The equity assumes that he had an intention to fulfill his obligations. That is, here, this maxim it is based on the agreement between the parties, whatever the parties between the parties they have done agreements, they have deeds under the deed or under some subject matter. Here, it is implicitly that this party they will perform their obligations, whatever they have entered into the conclusive contract by this agreement, by this deed, whatever they have entered into. There is the maxims of this equity. Equity imputes and intentions to fulfill an obligation. Yeah, it put emphasis on the obligations. That is, here the related equity principles of these maxims we could see in the satisfaction. Under the satisfactions and under the ademptions and under the defective executions and under the doctrine of advancements. Under this concept, under these circumstances, this maxims is relevant. Here we could see in satisfactions. Yes, satisfactions may be defined as the making of a donation with the intention that the donation should be taken to satisfy a prior claim or right of the donor himself. Here, where a father or any other person who stands in loco parentis covenants to make provisions for a child and afterwards gives the child a legacy or makes some other provisions during his lifetime, that the courts of equity regard the provisions or the legacy as satisfaction of the provision called person in equity covenanted to be made. Here, Satisfaction, it means that something like the donations. Like whatever the parents they have met under the covenants, that is the under the agreement. It may be expressed or it may be implied to their children. That is here. Yes, subsequently, the parents they have to satisfy whatever it is like under the concept of the donations. They have to subsequently transfer the legacy, that is the title of the property, to their children. Whatever the parents under the law of parentage, they have made such covenants. That is the enjoyment of the property. Yeah, under this concept of satisfaction by the law of parentage, this concept of maxioms, equity, imputes an intentions to fulfill an obligations. These equity principles, equity maxiom relates under this concept. And the next concept, ademptions. Here, ademption may be defined as the donations of a thing with the intention that it shall be taken as a substitution for a gift previously made by will in favor of the donee. Here, it means a transfer of property, which whether the donee wishes it or not, operated in law as a complete pro tanto substitution for a gift previously made by the donor's will and unrevoked at his death. Here, the equity presumes that the latter gift was intended to cut out the legacy, either completely or in part. Yeah, it says that it is also like the donations, whatever the donor, under the concept of the gift, transfer of property, he has given to donee. Here, in case suppose the donee, that is the transfer under the gift, who have expired before obtaining the title. Here, in these cases, the representative of the donee is entitled regarding this property under the gift. Here, the obligation belongs to the donor under the concept of the equity, although the donee transferee he has been expired. That is, here in ademption also. That's why we could see the principles of equity. Here, next is the defective executions. Defective execution. Here, the doctrine of relief against defective execution of power is also founded on the present maxim. Here, a defective execution will always be added in equity under the circumstances mentioned, it being the duty of every man to pay his debts, and a husband or father to provide for his wife or child. Here, defective executions, it mentions about the some relations, some circumstances. Whatever the transferor, they have been given for the benefit of the children, for the benefit of the wife of such persons. Then here the equity principles. It has given obligations to the husbands or parents of such children or such wife they have to refer this debt. Hmm. They have to discharge this obligation. This come under the concept of the defective executions of some contract or some performance, and this is also equity principles are involved. That is, and the next doctrine of advancements, that is, and this is also equity principles we could see regarding the obligation of the parties. Here, the doctrine of advancements also illustrates the application of this maxim. The doctrine connotes that if a father or anyone else in loco parentis makes any purchase or transfer of property without considerations in the name of or to child, that is, it gives rise to a presumption that it was intended as an advancement in the interest of the child, reverting thereby the ordinary presumption of resulting trust in favor of the father or the person who fed the money or shepherding consideration. Yeah, doctrine of advancements, it provides about the whatever the transaction transfer of property without consideration to some persons. That is, it may be to the child or it may be to wife of some particular person. Yeah, in these cases, who are the guardian of the children, that is the parents, and in case of the wife, is your husband's, they have the obligations to perform this debt to discharge. That is, it comes under the doctrine of advancements. Yeah, the benefit is given to the children by the transfer. That is the by the promission. That is without the considerations for the benefit of the child. Then, in this concept also, whatever the obligation belongs to the loco parentis, that is the parents, and the husbands of the wife, it comes under the obligations to perform, to fulfill under the equity principles. Here, these concepts are come under the maxims equity imputes and intentions to fulfill an obligations. Now, the next maxim here, equity action personam. Next maxim, equity action personam. Here, these maxims, equity maxims, it provides about the obligations can be put to the person himself of the party. That is, it may be against a person, it may be against a property of this particular person. Here, the concept of equity is based upon this fact that it follows the person till the end. The court looks to the persons of the defendant for the fulfillment of its decree. Whatever the decree under the suit under the proceedings is given against the persons. Here, that is the judgment debtor. He has to perform these obligations. Equity principles relate with this. Here, the maxim is related with the procedure of enforcement. Here, the maxim is related with the procedure of enforcement of decrees. Here, the Code of Chancery adopts this system that it follows the persons and property. of the judgment debtor. It is also supported by the process of contempt. Hmm. If the judgment disobedience and can send him to jail. Hmm. The court of equity acts against the persons rather than to his property. Yes, whatever the court under the decree. Here, the judgment debtor, he has to satisfy this decree. It is the equity principles. And if the judgment debtor doesn't satisfy whatever the debts under the decree given by the court, then it comes under the concept of the contempt of court. Under this contempt of court, he can be arrested. He can be detained in jail. He can be put into jail. That is, here, certain limitations were imposed under this doctrine. Here, the defendant must be within the jurisdictions of the Chancery Court. If the title of the foreign land is in question, this maxim will not apply. Section 19 of CPC, Civil Procedure Code, talks about the jurisdiction that either the property or the defendant must be residing in the place for deciding the disputed issue. So in India, also we are making use of this maxim. Yeah, it provides about the jurisdictions under the CPC. Here, it must be come under the Code of Chancery that the equitable principle can be enforced. Here, it says the jurisdictions that the persons and property must be within the jurisdiction of the court. Then only these equity principles can be applied against the persons or against the property of this particular person, against the judgment debtor. It is here equity covers the body of the persons. That is a man who doesn't obey the order of the courts make a contempt of court. It makes the court more powerful and effective. Equity court used to order against the persons and arrest was commonly made by the courts. It causes fear and respect for the court. That is, yeah, persons can be detained, person can be put in jail, and whatever the liability incurred from this judgment debtor, it can be satisfied by the court. That is, these maxims provide about this. Equity action personal. That is. Now, the next maxim. Here, when equities are equal, the first in time shall prevail. That is the next maxim we are going to discuss. When the equities are equal, the first in time shall prevail. Here, the concept of qui is the outcome of this equity. Concept of Q, that means the line up. That is the priority concept. The concept of the line up, some particular order, or the priority concept comes under this maxim. When the equities are equal, the first in time shall prevail. Yeah, this concept we could see in the case of the mortgages. If the same property is given under the mortgage to the different mortgage, then these maxims will be applicable. Here, the difficulty comes when two equities claim upon the right. Hmm. At this juncture, the common sense is applied. The first claimants will be benefited. Here, the first search upon the assets of the company will be preferred in comparison to the second one. Here, equity will apply this maxim judiciously. That is, the court will give priority of other conditions. Also, like circumstances, manner of acquisitions, and the conduct of the party also. But the time factor priority is generally considered if the two persons are at fault in the matter. In the matter of promotions, then the seniority of the two can be decided by the age of the two parties. Here, this maxim provides a priority concept. In case of the promotions of the some particular public servants also. In some extent, yeah, based on the assets also. Yeah, it can be prepared under the equity principles. That is. Here, here priority means the preference. Priority means the preference. Priority means the preference. A person in possession of the legal estate will get a priority over the persons having equitable estate. Here, two concepts is given here: legal estate and equitable estate. Now, whoever possessed under the legal estate, he has the priority, always priority against the equitable estate. Here, but if the persons are having equitable estates, then the first in time will get priority over the other. Equitable interest will not be enforceable against a purchaser of the legal estate who has paid for value and who has purchased the property in good faith. Yeah, in some cases where the equities are equal, in these cases, the party who are in first time, they have the preferential rights under this subject matter. We could see these equity principles in case of the mortgages under the same property, under the same title, if there are more than one mortgage. Yeah, whoever the mortgagee at first did the transactions with the mortgager, this first mortgagee they have always priority, preference other than the subsequent mortgagee. That is. Here, Section 14 of the Transfer of Property Act, Section 48 of the Transfer of Property Act 1882 provides that where a person proposes to create by transfer at different times rights over the one immovable property, then the first in time shall get priority over the other. Whatever whatever I am saying about the mortgage, it is provided in Section 40 of the Transfer of Property Act also. Here, what regarding the mortgage under the same title of immovable property, if it is given to so many mortgages, then for the first in time under the transactions, they will have the priority rights, preferential rights under the equity principles. Here, if a mortgage's property first to B and then to C, here B B's interest will have priority over C. Hmm. If the same immovable property under the same title, if it is given to more than one mortgagee, now the mortgages B and C, B is the first in transaction and subsequently C. Here, B, he has the priority rights, that is, because he did the past transactions with the mortgagor, that is, and section 78 also. Section 78 of the Transfer of Property Act, 1882, provides that where through fraud, misrepresentation, gross neglect of a prior mortgagee, another person has been induced to advance money on the security of the mortgage property, then the priority of the prior mortgage shall be postponed to the subsequent mortgage. Here, this maximum time priority will not apply. Here, Section 17 of the Transfer of Property Act 1882, it says about the satisfaction of the loan to the mortgagee by the mortgagor. Yeah, in case if the mortgagee, if the prior mortgagee, due to his fraud, due to his misrepresentations, due to his gross negligence, if he cannot if he cannot foreclose, that is, the mortgage deeds, or if he cannot satisfy the mortgagor, in these cases, whatever the subsequent mortgagee, he did the obligations of the first mortgagee. Here, this subsequent mortgagee will come under the positions of the this prior mortgagee. Here, this maximum we could see in the concept of the Pusni mortgagee under section of the 92 of the Transfer of Property Act 1882. Here, where the same property is mortgaged successively in favor of several persons, all such persons are entitled to redeem their respective prior mortgage. Here, a post or subsequent mortgagee is entitled to redeem his prior mortgage by making payments. That is, when he does so, he takes the place of that prior mortgage. In other words, in between the mortgages of the same property, every subsequent mortgagee has right to be substituted in place of prior mortgagee by discharging the debt due to such prior mortgagee. Here, it is expressly given in section 92 of the Transfer of Property Act. Here, the subsequent mortgagee, they also can redeem the prior mortgage by discharging the debt which were under the defaulter of the mortgagor by paying this amount to the mortgagee. The subsequent mortgagee, they have to right to redeem this debt to the mortgagee and the subsequent mortgagee who had discharged this debt, he can be placed under the priority rights. That is, in the place of this mortgagee whose debt is discharged. This concept also, equity principles related with these provisions are included. That is, it is also reflects in these provisions. And now the last maxims of these presentations here, where there is equal equity, the law shall prevail. Here, the last maxim of equity law here, where there is equal equity, the law shall prevail. Here, it says about the equitable rights with the legal rights. If some conflict arises, then always the legal rights will prevail. This maxim provides about this. Here, the maxim is similar to the principle, whatever we had discussed earlier. Yeah, something synonymous with the previous maxims. That is, this maxim reflects that whatever the provisions of law to be given top priority, the name of the law, the provisions of the law, the rights of the law must be given top priority. Here, it suggested when equitable claims are made, then to distinguish the one from the other, the best thing is to apply the law. Here, equity is never in conflict with law. Equity is never in conflict with law. Here, this maxim of equity principles, it provides that whatever the some dispute, some issue, if some conflict arises between the provisions of law and equity principles, then here the always the legal provisions, legal rights, they will given preference. That is, here the precedence of the legal claim over equitable claim is justified on the ground that equity never disregard the law. Thus, the purchaser for value of the legal estate without notice of a prior equitable interest is entitled to priority in equity to law because equity always follow the law. Here, the law shall prevail means that it is the legal estate prevails over the equitable estate, but it is applied only when both the equities are equal. When both the equities are equal, in these cases, whoever have the better claim regarding the acquisition of property, regarding the transaction of the property, with the transfer, whatever we call the under the notice, whether the parties they have notice or not the previous transactions. That is, if the parties they have no previous notice about the previous transactions, then they have the preferential rights. And if with the notice of the previous transactions they have done these transactions, then they will not the preferential rights. That is, yes, that is whether the parties they have notice or not, it must be taken sharp considerations when the both the equities are equal. That is, these maxims we could see in the doctrine of elections and the marshalling and the set of Indian law. These are based on the maxim where there is equal equity, the law shall prevail. Here, doctrine of election says that he who accepts, whenever the person accepts The benefit of an instrument must accept the liability mentioned in the instrument. Here, he will not be allowed to elect the benefit and neglect the obligations. Here, regarding the instrument under the doctrine of elections, here, if the acceptor, that is whoever elects, this person cannot be allowed to accept the only benefit part, but he has to take some burden also, some obligations also. Whatever the property may be under the debt, under the public liability, it must be, it must also be taken by this acceptor. That means we are selected under the who have elect the property. That is under the concept of doctrine of elections. Here, next is the marshalling, arrangement of property. Marshalling means the creditors will be adjusted in such a way that all the creditors may get the repayment of debt. Here, the funds will be managed in such a manner that maximum creditors may get the repayment. That is, it is widely used when the assets of the deceased persons have to be administered or someone has declared him uh, self as insolvent. Here, this marshalling, that is the arrangements of the assets, arrangements of the property to the creditors. In these cases, here, where the assets of the deceased persons, that means who has already expired, and if the this deceased person has the judgment debtor in these cases, or the person who has declared himself as the insolvent, if the court has to arrange these funds, has to distribute these funds to the creditors by appointing the receiver, that is by appointing the administrator. In these cases, this maxim will be applicable. Whatever we are discussing, where there is equity, the law shall prevail. It will be given some preference in the arrangements of this property or assets to the creditors. And in setup also, setup means adjustments of reciprocal loans. That is, here, if a person is to get 50,000 from another person owns something to get back from this person. An application can be filed from the side of the repaying person to set up his claim. He can repay the balance amount only. Here, under the concept of the set off, that is adjustments of the loan, adjustments of the reciprocal loans, reciprocal claims between the plaintiff and the defendant. In these cases also, here we could see these equity principles. Where there is equal equity, the law shall prevail. Okay, up to this, in these presentations, we have clearly discussed these equity principles, applications of these equity principles in the settlement of the disputes, in the settlement of the some subject matter, before the court proceedings or outside the court proceedings. Okay, that's all.